Hey friends, it's JayRy and my friend Jorge, and we're back with another episode of I Wonder. I think we were going to start this episode with the question you were just asking me, which is, I wonder why Jason is not wearing headphones.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were telling me that you had, from so many years of working in the industry, in the radio
Right.
industry, you were wearing headphones all the time because I
And
prefer headphones. And you had ear damage. Tell me.
yeah, it's years of like having controlled hearing like that with headphones and now earbuds and AirPods and all of those things. I just avoid them any chance that I can because yeah, my hearing is definitely affected after all of the years of using headphones every single day for like 5 hours a day, more or less. So I just choose not to.
But it's the actual headphones that, like the physical thing, or the ear inside the internal organ that is damaged from the loud. Is it louder than normal? You know what I mean? Like, can you just, like, if you wear headphones and just turn the volume down? Is that? I'm worried about my hearing now.
It's volume control, and it's also like that's just not real. Meaning, if you're walking outside and you hear a bus and you hear a bird and you hear an airplane, that's not here. It's not like amplifying it right in your ear. It's just ambient. And now all of that is being put into right at your ear, which is just not like normal. So again, people may have different feelings about it, but for me, after all of these years, I choose just to not use something covering or inside my ear as much as possible.
But what, when you say ear damage, you have tinnitus, you have like a high pitched sound on you, or what's
No,
the story?
loss of hearing. It's difficult for me to I have to like really watch people's mouths sometimes when they're speaking with me, and also being in another country with two languages, it's even more complicated.
So you're telling me you're like partly deaf?
That's a strong word, but my hearing is definitely affected. It's definitely below average of people who don't do this for a living. Correct.
Wow. Oh, I've never heard about. I didn't know this.
Yeah. You don't remember every time that we've been at a party, I say, what? What? What?
Or maybe that's why you don't say what, because you're reading my lips because you have so much training. Exactly. So right now,
It's a good excuse on a date to get closer. Like, wait,
that's
what?
true.
Sure.
But right now you're reading my lips, basically. Like you are 50-50. Like, what's the percentage of visual aid that you need?
I'm having a great day right now. I am not having to like read your lips. I'm speaking about moments where people are not we're still in a controlled environment because you are coming through my speaker, which is only 3 feet away from me, right? Whereas if you're in a room and there's other noise, it's very difficult for me to pick out detailed conversations when there's conflicting noise. And
So it's about discerning when there's more stuff going on. You have the hard time isolating one voice. Is that kind of like the idea?
It's that, and it's like my hearing is just lower, and so like I've had to turn, if I do have something on, I have to turn it higher because I cannot get it.
Yeah, and then it's like a vicious cycle where you turn it on higher and then it's just damaging more. I think now they have like voice isolation things, like the new Apple, whatever, and probably not even Apple, but there's like voice that just helps you isolate, which is, I guess, the solve is also in the tech. The tech has a solution for this.
Well, I mean, even as we're sitting here, right? Like, I don't have to have headphones on. I can hear you perfectly, and we're not making a stupid sound loop because they've figured these things out.
Yes. Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. Because your microphone is not picking my voice through your speakers.
Right.
Yeah.
So thank goodness. Thank goodness they have figured those things out.
Yeah.
Because it's I just, again, I try not to wear them as much as possible. But anyway, Hello, my
Yes.
friend.
Hello,
How
my
are
friend.
you?
How are you? Good.
We left the coffee shop today, and we actually used our real studio backgrounds this time, so it's a little bit different.
I like your Tron video game in the background.
I think it's more attractive. I don't think Tron makes the cut actually of
Really?
what the audience can see, but we'll see when it makes final edit. But
Oh, I see.
I think they're just seeing a little bit of Chris Cornell over my head, some Stone Temple Pilots, some Radiohead, some Oingo Boingo down there. There's a little glare on Oingo Boingo, but you have some beautiful artwork behind you as well.
Yeah, this is all my high school artwork. Stuff that I did when I was in high school. Yeah.
Amazing. So last time we spoke, it's been a couple of weeks, I was speaking about my first experience with ayahuasca, and then we were starting to talk with you, and then we said, let's just wait, and then let's just really get into this conversation in full clarity, right? So for those of you who haven't, seen any of our episodes, Jorge and I are friends, and we are both fans of plant medicine, ayahuasca, generally fans of psychedelics as well. And so those are some of the things that we speak about. And we did tease that we were going to talk about, your very first experience with Aya and how it came to be.
So this is the episode where I talk about my ayahuasca experience. Okay. I guess so, yeah. Yours was pretty cool. I really enjoyed learning how... because you've told me, I think once, when we were on the top of a tree, and you told me the whole thing about how you realized that you were sick. And my experience was a little bit different. Where do I start? I guess I was in Los Angeles. I had just gone through a breakup. I was very, very depressed. And a friend of mine, Rory Bain, who was an opera singer and became a filmmaker, who guided me to an acting guru called Susan Batson earlier, and who helped me a lot in my career, in my development as an artist. He also, Rory, told me when I was depressed that I should go see a shaman in Peru, which I thought it was like the craziest of ideas to get on a plane. But at the time, I was in a low point. I had nothing going on. My clients in the advertising industry had work had stalled, and I said, yeah, why not? And I got on a plane. And I was in the middle of the jungle for 10 days, and I did 6 ayahuasca sessions. And it was incredible. I mean, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I just went because I heard that people were doing it, and I thought that it was going to be a good experience, blah, 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 and that it helped get to know yourself better. And also, another reason I did it was because at the time, the girl that broke up with me, one of the reasons that she broke up with me was because she said that I was not spiritual enough. That was one of the reasons submitted for the breakup council. You're not spiritual enough. I was like, oh yeah, well, wow. I'm gonna go all spiritual. Look at how spiritual I can be. I'm gonna go to Peru. And so, anyway, so I went to Peru, and
what was your age approximately at this point?
This was 10 years ago, actually. So I was no, it's not true. It was like 2017. So I was 35, something like this, 35.
All right.
It's like a good age, actually, in retrospect, to have an experience like this. So I went. It was the dry season in Peru. So we went through a dry river. Like normally, you can, if you go on a different time of year, you have to get to this place in a boat. But in this time of year, have you been to the jungle? Have you been to Peru yet or no?
Not Peru, but I mean, I live in Costa Rica, so
right.
Of course we have to, of course, watch for weather and roads and things of that nature at times as well.
Yeah.
Until we get it.
Yeah. But I've lived in Costa Rica, and I've done the jungle the jungle time in Costa Rica, but there is nothing. I mean, I guess maybe that prepared me for this, because this was, as I was, you get into a moto taxi, they pick you up at the airport, and there's a whole industry of ayahuasca in Peru. A lot of people go to Peru for this reason, and so there was this like guys in a moto taxi, which is like a motorcycle with a carriage in the back with two things, right? And they take you through this like bumpy, like dry river, and I was like, we keep going, and this is like a long journey. It's like an hour and 1 hour and a half or something into the depths of the Amazon, right? I mean, there's nothing, and then you're in them, which is absolutely beautiful and absolutely worth it, because speaking of sounds, the ambience of the thing, I chose to like turn my phone off for the whole experience, like not be on my phone, and you just hear the freaking jungle. It's just like loud, so loud, and all the animals and all the crickets and the
it's the gift of the noises that people pay their phone to mimic.
That's right.
They live in the city.
Exactly.
It's the white noise or the I live where I have beautiful ambient noise around my home. But even in the home at times, I will put on a video of a waterfall or something just to like turn it up one more notch. But
oh, really? But you don't have a river in front of your...
I do, but when it's raining or like I don't want to leave it open, for,
I see.
For mosquitoes and things, So sometimes I even use the ambient noise in my house when I'm surrounded by the
That's
real
hilarious.
rain and river.
That's hilarious. Wow.
But you're bumping your ass on this motor.
Oh yeah. So anyway, so I get there. And there's this what's Lotos? How do you say Lotos in English? Like parrots. Right? Parrots that just like mimic, what people say, and they would say corre, 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 corre. So run in Spanish. What the hell is this run thing, right? And so, and all these mysteries, right? Of like when you get into this jungle, and you're like in this like tambo, it's called, and it's like a little house with like you're separated from the jaguars basically by a thin layer of mosquito net, and my experience was really, and people were walking around. There was security guards with like shotguns, and I was like, I called my friend Rory. I'm like, that was the one call that I did before putting my phone away. I was like, what the hell did you send me to? he's like, don't worry, you're in the safest place on earth. Chill. And I was like, okay. And so trust, fully, letting go completely. Turn off my phone. Meet with, huh?
Well, before you just glide past that,
yeah.
So like and before you made the phone call, like how did that make you feel? Like you're worldly. You're not like a person who just spent your life in coddled Los Angeles, California. Like you Latin America, but yet how did that moment make you feel?
Well, it's probably because I know Latin America that moment made me feel like I'm in the middle of
It works.
That's exactly the reason that I was like, what the fuck did I just do? Anyways, I'm in the middle of the jungle, and I'm like, wow. Yeah, I mean, anything can happen here. Like, it's not like there's like walls of boundaries. It's just you're in the jungle, and there's like a couple of little houses, and if you keep walking that way, you're in the Amazon. You're like literally in the middle of the Amazon, right?
Right.
Away from everything. Like
wild and unprotected. And so
wild and unprotected. There's.
I mean, he's not there to shoot a snake. I mean.
No, he's there to shoot, like, I don't know, right? Like, that's the thing.
People who try and take advantage of a moment, perhaps.
Something like this, but there's security. I mean, I guess when he told me, like, well, that's really good that there's people with shotguns. There's security. They're protecting you from whatever. And yes, it's true. There are wild animals. There are jaguars. There are, all sorts of, you are in the wilderness. And the closest hospital is, like, far away, So... Right. So anyway, but that once I was like, okay, I'm here for I'm safe, these guards are here to protect me with their shotguns. It's totally fine. And yeah, I was like, so I meet up with the shaman. His name is Ricardo Amaringo, great guy. And he tells me, like, he gives me not only, this is another thing that like is interesting. It's not only I didn't drink only ayahuasca. I drank another plant medicine during the day. During the day, I can't remember what he gave me now. I'm blanking. But it was another plant. After an interview, he told me, like, you need to open your heart. So this is like a heart opener plant, which doesn't make you hallucinate, but apparently it works together in tandem with ayahuasca. And depending on what you are in your exploration of this.
It wasn't iboga or rapé or combo.
No. It wasn't like no, those are strong. No, this is not a hallucinogen. It was like more of a
like an appetizer or something you're describing.
Kind of like in the middle of the day, you would go to this other place, like close by, and you would get like a shot. Oh, so this you're Jorge? Okay, so yeah, this is your shot. Like your vitamin shot, basically. You would drink it, and nothing would happen. It's not like I was all of a sudden in a different space. Like it was fine. But I forgot, like the first thing is like, oh, welcome to this is the newcomers. We're going to go and drink a vomitivo. I'm like, what? It's have you had this, like a vomitivo? Not, you know what I'm talking about?
You're not talking, that wasn't their nickname for the Aya.
No. Vomitivo is like basically, a vomitivo is something that makes you vomit. So it's
right out.
Yeah, so the idea,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, so the idea is to clean your stomach before you start the diet with the plants.
Right.
To me, this is nonsense because like you're not cleaning your stomach out, but like what it did do. Well, first of all, it's you're sitting there with 10, 12 people that you don't know, and they give all of us this bowl, and okay, well, you're gonna drink it and you're gonna puke. I'm just like, okay, do I need to do this? I mean, I'm gonna puke when I do ayahuasca anyways, right? It's like, yeah, but this is good. It's gonna clean you. I'm like, okay, sure. I'm like, so I drink this whole thing, and I'm like, nothing is happening. People are puking. Some people are puking right away, and I'm like, why am I not puking? It's like, oh, it's okay. It's gonna come. And eventually I puked in the middle of the jungle, and like I just walk around, and so I walk around and finally puke. But what it did to me is that it took away, I think for all of us, it took the fear away of puking in front of others while sober.
Get it over with.
Correct. So the psychological thing of like, no, I'm not gonna puke because there's people watching me kind of went away, because when you're under the effect of a drug, I think it's more, you can get into your head about, that aspect of that possibility, and like that can interrupt the experience, right?
Of course. And I mean, when I interviewed Jerry Powell, who runs, Rhythmia, and I asked him, I said, what's the number one thing people tell you that they're scared of? And if it is, it's the vomiting. And it's like, and it's just crazy, right? Like, the universe's cruel joke, perhaps, right? Of like, how many people are not going all the way through with ayahuasca because they heard, oh, I don't want to vomit, or oh, I don't want to poop myself, or something like that. And it's
yes.
Like, but that's where the magic is. As crazy as that sounds, it just always makes me wonder of like, I don't know, that's an interesting technique of saying, let's just get it out of the way so that you're already done with that, and there's no excuse to like not continue going forward, perhaps, or face that fear so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, and it really helped because while I was doing it, I already was feeling like completely sober, and none of us wanted to puke, and just doing that sober took it away. Anyways, it was amazing that happened. It was also amazing because my first two experiences, I did not vomit, and I thought that there was something wrong, but actually,
different experiences still at the same.
At the same center. So I got there on, I think, Saturday. On Sunday we took the vomitivo. Monday was the first night drinking ayahuasca. And so
Jorge, go ahead. Before you went there, did they tell you, because I'm always curious how different programs run, did they give you a specific pre-conditioning of your stomach, of changing your food caffeine, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they told me, and I did change. I stopped I think caffeine to caffeine. They told me to stop smoking weed, but at the time I was like, that. I mean, I almost said like I can't go because there was the one thing that was helping me with my anxiety was weed at the time. I was using it to sleep, and I was kind of dependent on it a little bit. And there was no way that I was going to stop before. And he's like, it's okay, you can keep smoking weed, but try to not smoke so much. Stop salt, stop caffeine, and try to not eat so much red meat or something like this. I kind of remember all the details, but yeah, there was a lot of prep. Let's say
there were preconditioning suggested.
Correct, especially salt. Apparently, salt interrupts. It doesn't allow for the experience to hit hard. Something like this. So. Anyway, so Monday comes along. I take the heart opening plant. Nothing happens. I get to the Maloca, which is like this round, place where everybody's sitting, like, and it looks like a portal that you're gonna go into space. And there's like 40 people, and there's like the 5 shamans, and we all go.
That's a big group, and that's a big location.
Oh yeah, no, I was impressed. And there's like the bathrooms are like you could go down the ramp. It's like this thing is a little bit elevated, and then you go down the ramp, and you have to have like your little lantern, but the lantern has to be covered with red tape, so that not to scare people off when you have to go to the bathroom. And then they give you like agua florida, like basically perfumed water. I'm like, for what? I'm like, so in case you have like bad energies. I'm like, okay. So I have at that moment, right? Like you're like I was entering into a space of like, I don't know. I'm sure I'll take 2 of those, talismans. Give me 2. It's just like just in case. And they also give you mapacho, which is like tobacco, but really pure tobacco, like not with the crap that they put it in the industry here, but like pure tobacco, ceremonial tobacco, let's just call it. It's a fancy name. So, and I was like, no, I don't need tobacco, I don't smoke. But the next day I definitely wanted, after the first experience, I definitely wanted tobacco as a protection mechanism, just in case, because apparently it just grounds you. The nicotine maybe does something too. I don't know, did you do it? Did they do tobacco did you have this or no? Florida for sure, right? Agua Florida, yes.
No.
Really?
No. The only thing that was the rapé.
Oh my God.
The tobacco type substance. Forgive me, I'm not the expert on what that is.
Yeah.
Shoot it like into your sinuses.
Yeah.
But that's different than what you're talking about.
Yeah. I've had that. That was a terrible experience. I didn't have it there. I had it in Los Angeles. They had
people. Okay, interesting. Okay, let's put that on the shelf because I want to talk about that too because I didn't love it either.
No. It was the one time during an ayahuasca experience that I've never asked for help, not one time. Except when I had jape at the mill, and the shaman came over and was like, "Would you like some jape?" And I was like, "Oh, well, do you like small, medium, or large?" And I'm like, "Oh, I was in such a great space. I was like, I'll take a large, please. Get me a venti jape." And after that. Yeah, after that, I puked in every single plant of the property, and I finally asked for help. I was like, please, I can't, my headache, I have a headache, I'm like, I can't. And the shamans were like, yeah. And this was here's the thing about when you have a bad experience with psychedelics. It's like the bad experiences are probably the best experiences you can possibly have. Because for the first time, go ahead.
Well, there's no out.
Because there's no out, yes. Like you feel like you're dying.
There is no out for you. Like, yeah, you got to sit there and deal with it.
Well, this is what the guys told me. I thought that they were going to give me something, right? Like if I asked for help. Something.
Like you're in a spy movie or something.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like people, one of the things that they tell is don't drink water. That's an important thing. So, right? So like if you drink water, either you puke, but I was at the end of the experience of Aya, so I could have drunk a little bit of water, or sometimes they give you like coca tea to like kind of like counteract a little bit, like kind of bring you back.
Yeah, they don't want you like flushing out and washing through your system, because the medicine needs to do its job.
Correct. So they come to me and I'm like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not okay. Like, please help me."
It's always fun to laugh at your friends.
Of course.
In hindsight.
No, it's beautiful. I mean,
I would have been right there, but right now we're laughing.
No, I was like, I was dying, and this guy was like, yeah. I'm like, what are you gonna give me something? I mean, and he's like, yeah, just get comfortable in the discomfort. You motherfucker. That's it? That's all you're gonna give me? Yeah. And it was the most valuable lesson. It was the most valuable lesson I could have possibly learned is, yeah, it's discomforting. And just to kind of pull away and be like, yeah, this sucks. And it's going to go away. And just observe it. And that alone, I kept puking and like, I'm like, come to the shaman. The shaman will sing to you. I had to crawl to the shaman, like, and everybody there, like, there were like, I don't know, like 10 people watching me, like literally like commando it to the shaman on the way to the shaman, because it was so, I was like, and so I'm like there, I'm like, are you okay? Go ahead.
Let me ask you though.
Yeah.
Did you, because you did not know the medicine yet, did you feel that was not the right answer?
Oh no, so the jape, so yeah, I kind of jumped around. So the jape happened in Los Angeles. This is like, ayahuasca session number 12 or something like this, Okay,
so with that, okay, you still were asking for them to help you, and they said, well, get comfortable with the discomfort. So that by that point you were well into your ayahuasca.
Yeah, by that point I wouldn't say I was an expert, because like there's always something else that you learn, but like I was pretty comfortable in ayahuasca, and I had incredible experiences. I also had very dark experiences, but like I was ready. But nothing would have, the jape like threw me off into a spin that it was like, not really uncomfortable, and I couldn't get out. It was not a mental thing that I had to like, it was not a psychological thing that I could like talk myself out of or like just be present with. It was like physical, like my brain was hurting, my head was really on fire. Huh?
It can hurt.
Yeah, I've never had like a headache on ayahuasca.
For people who have numbed their sinus cavities from other party favors and things like that, well, maybe it's different, but like I did not like the sensation at all. I was like, oh God, what is this supposed to do again? Like I was not a fan.
Yeah, no, I didn't. That was the last time well, that's not true. I tried it again sober, just to try, because like I wanted to see that, was it because I was on ayahuasca? And I tried it sober, the jape, and I don't know. I don't really get what this is for. Like it's like really intense, and then like your brain is on fire, and then what? What's the story? Why? I don't get it. It feels like a little bit about.
We'll invite a pro jape position on a future episode.
Yes, yeah.
They can tell us. We'll get a third bubble going here.
Yeah, I would love to ask. I don't understand. I understand Cambo. Have you done Cambo?
I have not. It's been offered. It's been explained. I have not. But please.
So Cambo is perhaps similar in the effect that it just puts you in that really like. Oh, and another thing that I've done is Sananga. Have you done Sananga? What they put in your eyes?
No.
So these three things kind of do the same thing in the sense like they put you in a very controlled suffering, because it's just pure suffering. And it's akin to, let's say, the experience of going into a cold shower or a cold plunge, like where it's like you don't want to be there. And if you just breathe, and it teaches you something about discipline, about kind of like staying with it, but so Sananga, and people have a story with the Sananga that like, oh, it gives you stronger vision. So people sometimes do it before ayahuasca. when I was in Peru, I didn't have Sananga, I didn't have Cambo, I didn't have Jape. It was just the plant, the master plant, like whatever the heart opening was from in my case, and other people have other plants, and at night ayahuasca. In Los Angeles, I guess they bring more stuff, they try more things, I don't know. But I did Cambo and I did Sananga. Sananga is like they put drops in your eyes, and it's just like putting pepper in your eyes, like literally putting pepper, like chili pepper in your eyes.
Where do we sign up?
Huh? Why would you sign up for that? Well, because it's like maybe like 3 to 5 minutes of pain that you've never experienced before. So painful, and also there's different strengths, right? But like it's so intense, and you have to just breathe and breathe, and it will go away. But like it's again like training yourself to like be comfortable in the discomfort. Valuable lesson. I got it a couple of times, and then it's kind of like a little bit of an addiction of like, ooh, let me do it again, because you know it's gonna go away. You know it's safe, basically.
Right.
And so of course you cry it out, and it cleans your eye. Maybe, I don't know, but I stopped. The Cambo is kind of similar. It's more intense because it's like a longer experience, and it's a controlled. The Cambo is literally is the most extreme one because it feels like you're going to die. It's really like a controlled near-death experience. And when you're in this like state, you release DMT, same thing as ayahuasca. It's a short ride in the sense because, you know, and you're puking on all this water that you drink before to like make sure you have something to not dry heave when you're puking. But it's the poison, for people that don't know. They like, you know, burn your skin a few times with little spots, and then they put the venom of a frog. And this causes like some sort of, not allergic reaction, but a reaction in your body, like you're poisoned, and your body goes into shock. A terror reaction, and then your heart slows down like a lot.
Poison.
Yeah,
I mean,
you get poisoned.
Your body is doing what it's supposed to do, which is to fight off this thing because it doesn't want you to die. Right.
And then like your face gets like really puffed up, and your throat can't close, which is the scary part. But that's why the shaman is there. If something happens, like they told me, like, don't worry, if something closes in your throat, we'll take the venom and we'll blow air down your throat. I'm like, okay.
With the puffy face and the panic and all of this, like, it sounds like an influencer heaven. Like
I think there's many people that have done it on influence. Yeah, there's a lot of influencers that have done it. Yeah, there's tons of videos probably you can watch of people doing it for sure.
Right.
Yeah, but that one.
I wonder, like when did you get from Aya to trying these other things, and were they ever like connected visits, or like during the same time where you were at the place?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done any medicines like this for the last 5 years or something. It was like a 2-year period when I was experimenting with all of these things, and I thought I was getting benefit, and I think I got a lot of lessons. I tried it, and I thought it was really good, and I did learn a lot about myself, about like. But I don't think you need to do Cambo. You can just run a marathon and just like experience the same amount of pain and push through with discipline towards the end, and controlling, and telling yourself to get comfortable with the discomfort with every step that you take. So it's not like you need that, but it was an interesting experience. I don't take it back. What it did is like they call it the warrior medicine, and I see the point, because you feel like you're going to die. Like it's like when they say, like, when you're about to die, your life flashes through your eyes. Well, this is exactly what happens when you're on Cambo. Like, to me, this is what happened to me, at least. My life flashed through my eyes as I was puking into this bucket, and then you start fighting it. You start fighting and fighting and fighting, and also all this anger comes out. And then at the end, when all the anger, like when you're your fighting spirit, when you get defeated basically by the medicine, then you go into this like surrender and this gratitude. And when you get to the gratitude for your life, gratitude for all the experiences, because you're pretty much saying bye to life, and you start saying thank you. and then the tunnel, you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and everything gets very simplified, very simple, like, and you realize all the problems that you were thinking about, all the bullshit that you were going through, all the noise, actually it doesn't matter at all. And the one thing that matters is like whatever the issue is, that right, it's just so clear, like it refragments your hard drive and it reminds you of that you're alive and so on.
Perhaps,
and then
the most important thing to actually pay attention to is your breath and your actual life.
That's right. And then so when you come out of the experience, you realize you were wasting so much hard drive space and so much processor speed on irrelevant things completely. And so you come out extremely happy. You feel like a Hulk afterwards. I felt like, I'm alive. I'm so happy that I'm alive. This is incredible. I know exactly what to do and what not to do. Like 90% of the things that I was thinking about, forget it. Fuck it.
Yeah.
That was Cambo. I kind of digressed from the ayahuasca experience, but in Peru. But like, yeah, it's
all related.
It's all related, yeah. And then I did also, there was one time that, I mean, I can talk hours and hours about this, but like there was one group of friends that I met. Okay, let me go back to Peru really quick to just close that circle so we can move on to the next ones. But so in Peru, the first night that I went to that I took the plant, they served, every one by one, they drink. I went to drink and the shaman is like, give him a little bit only because it's his first time, right? So I drink, and if you want more, you can come up for more. And everybody's puking around me, or not everybody, but a lot of people are puking. People are coming up for a second dose, and I'm not seeing anything. I'm just like seeing a little bit of green, a little bit of blue in the darkness.
Right.
And I go up to the assistant to the shaman, which was this Italian woman, and I was like, "Hey, I'm not feeling anything." It's like, "No, just you're not gonna get any more." I'm like, "Why not?" I'm like, "I'm not feeling anything." It's like, "No, just wait." And I'm like, "Okay." It's been like half an hour. I'm looking at my watch. I'm like. And she finally gives me a little bit more, but just a tiny bit more. And I go back and sit down, and I just see, a little bit of something. But I saw, it was good to see everything sober first, because the shaman sing. The shaman sing is they were like, and everybody had like a different way of singing, and it was really cool. And so the next day, I was so upset that I didn't get. I mean, I flew for fucking 14 hours to Peru. I all this journey, and I didn't get and I paid all this money, and I didn't get like a
10 nights, and this is the first night.
And there's zero experience, right? So I was like, and then the next day I go up to the woman.
You're being the ideal client, the impatient American.
I'm being like, hey, I ordered a coffee latte, and this has no latte. Where's the latte? And so she's like, no, but like, but the thing is, for me, in my case, because I'm a people pleaser, I always like, oh no, it's okay. So I have struggled with being the doormat, right? So for me, it was important to speak up and be like, hey, listen, I came over here, like, and I told you I wasn't having a good experience. Why didn't you believe me? Like, why don't you give me more? It turns out that night, the night that I first had it on Monday night, the plant, the chacruna that they were using was old or something like this. There was basically a batch that was not potent. So she was being careful not to give me too much, which I understand. But she was also not aware that the plant was not potent that night. So the second night on Tuesday, which is perfect the way it happened, because otherwise I would have never had this experience. I go up to get to drink, and the shaman is like, no, give him more. And they gave me like probably like 4 times the dose that you would normally get, because I complained the first night that they were not giving me enough. And the shaman is like, don't give him, it's okay. And if you want more, come over and get more. So I drink this, and for people that don't know, this is extremely, when people drink, it's very disgusting, the flavor. But when you first drink it, it's not, because it's like a juice, and because you have not puked it yet, you don't have the memory of it being disgusting. So I was just drunk.
Even just mentioning is giving me the feel of it, because it's just such a guttural experience you will never forget.
Yeah, but the first time, do you agree that the first time is not like disgusting at all? It's just like
you don't know till you know. You're right.
Yeah, so I had like a big gulp, bloop, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. Like I'm like at this point, I'm like, this is bullshit. I don't understand this.
Prune juice with some dirt in it.
Yeah, nothing. This is like no big deal. I sat down. I'm like, okay, well now I'm ready, and it just hit me like a truck. Like this was till today the strongest experience I've had, and I would have never taken so much had the first night with the little that they gave me had any effect, because this plunged me into. I mean, I was seeing volcanoes in my legs. I was looking at my arms and I was seeing all the wiring, like an Alex Gray painting. I was seeing through everything. I went to the bathroom and there were like butterflies that were this size, but actual butterflies, like insects. And they were, and like I was sitting in the bathroom and I was just thinking, wow, waka, ching, waka, wow, wow. And then I heard in my head a voice saying like, my voice probably, but like it was like, oh, so you really wanted to know, so now you know, here we are. And I was like, oh my god, and a fire coming out of my arm, like this is like crazy. And then praying mantises that were like the size of my fist, like crawling. I was like, no man, this was a lot, you know. And so I went back and but I was not freaked out. It was just like, wow. And then I look at the shamans, and the shamans are singing, and they're frogs, giant frogs, right? And I'm like, and I got it. I'm like, thank God that these people are here singing to me, because if they were not singing, I would be completely lost. And it suddenly hit me. I understood why the Maloca, why it's done the way it's done, why there's the singing, why the Agua Florida is there. I'm like, okay, like I guess like, because sometimes just a sensation will like kind of like, you know, it's just an input, no? Like you're like feeling like, oh my god, and then you smell something, and then okay, and it produces also some other hallucination, right? And you know, I was seeing dinosaurs, and the whole thing with this. Now I understand the experience differently than at the time. But at the time, I was seeing all these things, and I was asking, like they told me, the shamans told me, like if you see things, if you see a door open, and if you see a staircase, you know, go down it or go up it, whatever, and especially ask, why are you showing me this? So I was asking, like, why are you showing me, you know, the dinosaur? Why are you showing me the volcanoes? And you start associating with the images and coming up with the story, right? And then of course I started, like I was very angry at my father, my mother, because they broke up, and at my grandfather. And I started to like go down all of why I was angry, and I started to first understand them and forgive them. And then this thing opened in my heart where I was able to receive love, and I started to just like bawl crazy bawling and crying, and just like, and then like my first night was pure love. Like it was this blockage that I couldn't receive and be present, and I was so angry, and so like I was open and able to experience love. And it was like that for 2 nights, pure love. And remember this vision of seeing like a cable that was surrounding the whole circle. It was a green neon cable, and I was like, what is this? And I just had the instinct to grab this cable, and this cable was like, I mean, just filled me with like, as if I was in a giant orgasm for minutes of like love, pure love. And I was like, oh my god, love, like it's like. And then I understood all the songs, right? Like love is there. You know, love is always there. It's just for you to just like be open to it.
Isn't it? So I'm loving all of this because I haven't heard all of your details before.
Yeah.
Would you? Is it your experience that you said like the music, and then it was making sense to you like later, but do you find that the music also is like the instigator sometimes?
Oh yeah, I mean the thing is like, well, first of all, so
music and the beat actually get your story going in your experience internally.
Well, in a way, because when first of all, everybody drinks, and then everything is quiet, and then suddenly one shaman will start smoking, and you see the light come up so it's all pitch black, and you see like the ambers of like the and then you see like how they put it out really quickly by moving it. And when you hear that, it's like an instinct, oh, somebody's getting hit, right? Or you hear somebody just puking, and you're like, and suddenly like somebody starts singing, and then you're like, oh, okay, so the record is starting. So it's like a kind of like a Pavlov thing, where like, okay, it's like if you start hearing people puking, or if you start hearing people smoking, or if you start hearing the shaman singing, you realize that, you know, the spaceship has taken off. We're en route. Prepare for takeoff. Like it's like literally prepare for takeoff. Like so, it's like more of a sign that we're on our way. Some of us are already there. You know, it's like yeah.
Some of us have always already been there.
That's right. I mean, these people that do ayahuasca, they do it every night. I mean, how the hell, right? But like, no, to answer your question, like, you know, I think it's more like if you have dead silence and then suddenly any sound, in the same way that any like smell, it will like trigger your brain into, you know, it will push your brain into some direction. Yeah. But anyways, yeah.
I've noticed, especially because I've done, you know, some places repetitively. So like the first night I did it was in a private home, and I've never repeated that exact experience again with that shaman. I've done Rhythmia twice for 2 weeks, and so therefore those shamans, some were repeated, and the music choices and things like that. I had experience, it's all a way of saying, I've had experiences where there's a certain way the music comes in, and it also launches me.
Oh, yeah.
Then as the night is wearing on and the sun is coming up, and then it sort of goes into the come back to us now.
Yeah.
Music. And I have the music somewhere.
Yeah.
But I have had that experience where it as you said, Pavlovian. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're wrapping it up, or like, oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So tell me, how is it that the music in your experience, because, you know, for me, it was people singing. Was that the case with you, or was there like a DJ, or was there somebody with a guitar, or was there an MP player? What was your...
All of the above.
Oh, okay.
So, well, again, it's been different locations, but like it starts with pre-made music, and then that would be the launch. And then it's live music because everyone's on it, including the shamans. And then later it goes back to the pre-made music, which is really inspirational, and it just pulls you, it pulls you out and keeps you up, even if you had a hard night. Like,
interesting.
It's really like, yeah.
Yeah, I've never had like a session like that, actually. It's always been, you know, and the reason I think is, I don't know, I mean, I guess I shouldn't judge because I haven't had it, but the thing that I think is really good about being live music is that they're feeling the vibe, right? Yes. And there's several people, and sometimes people are crazy. Sometimes there are nights where people are screaming, you know, a lot of trauma is in the room, right? And so, you know, the songs, people are singing to a specific person in a particular way. So for them, and it feels like more attention. It's like a baby, right? Like you're singing to the baby, as opposed to just putting a playlist. So, and the baby's whatever, going through whatever experience. And there's several people singing, as opposed to just one source.
Yep. And I think, and you actually pivoted me to another thought there when you were talking about, you know, some people are having a hard time. So what I've noticed in, doing medicine at, different locations through different times, like, rhythmia is, I love rhythmia. Big fan. And it's a different experience in many ways. But if you're in a room of 80 people and there are people there that aren't ready, I mean, the odds are when you get a group that big, someone didn't do their homework, someone isn't ready, someone's having like the shock of their life and they can't handle it, right? And it does affect everyone else's experience, which, sucks sometimes. And it's like, my heart is open for you having that, but yet I need to be in my experience. And if you're freaking out 2 pillows over from me, like it messes up my experience, right?
Yeah.
So
another reason that I stopped going to ayahuasca sessions, there was too many back-to-back people freaking out.
Now here's my counterpoint to that. Here in Costa Rica, because rhythmia has been around for a while and other places have been around for a while, there are now like more boutique like ceremonies, and it doesn't mean that they're crazy expensive, but it's for people that are already in the plant community and they're not warming up and they're not doing all the classes to teach you about intentions and teach you what the medicine's going to do, which rhythmia gets an A+ for, in my opinion, because they're leading you in full classes of like, here's what it does and here's what to expect, and here maybe this will happen, maybe this will happen, maybe this will happen. Anyone else been here before? So it's like it's a whole fully, like structured, But when you're past that, and you kind of know all that stuff, there are these other groups that meet, and that stuff doesn't happen anymore. So now, honestly, like I've had friends that want to go to rhythmia specifically, and I've said, great, I'll go with you. Like I'd be happy to, go and help you. Like you don't want to have somebody be your teddy bear while you're there. You need to have your own experience, but also, I'm like, I'll go, sure. But if it's just me, I like the other places now too, which are sort of like 2.0, where you don't have the beginners and you don't have like the freakouts, which you could have, right?
Yeah, that would be much. I mean,
it's like a family. It's like a family and everyone knows each other. Like I know some of these people from rhythmia, I know some of these people from other places, and this group just kind of like gets together every couple months and some combination of 20 of the 500 people perhaps that know of this group, maybe it'll be about 20, will get together and do it, and it's nice because you don't have some of those other distractions. And again, it's no offense to people that are having a traumatic moment. No. That's part of the purpose of it, but it can get distracting.
Yeah, and it's, for a while it was also part of, the first few times it's part of the experience. Like in Peru, there was this woman next to me that was having a terrible experience. Like by night number 3, it was 6 nights that I did. The first night was nothing. The second night was pure love. The third night was pure love. The fourth night, I thought I was clean. I was like, I'm completely clean. What else can I be cleaned of? I'm ready. I should be helping others. I should be a shaman. I was like, and so this woman next to me is having the worst experience, and I just felt like literally like Jesus energy here, like I can save you. And amazing lesson, another amazing. I was so glad I got so many lessons in this trip, because you can't help other people. You really can't. You can only help yourself. And this woman was next to me, was like having, I don't know what the hell was going on, but like she was being helped. And this was like her 4th night. It wasn't like the first night, but it was the first freak out, I guess she's had. And nothing, she was from Denmark or something. And so she was speaking in Danish, and like nobody could understand what she was saying. So it sounded like very like, very bizarre to all of us, like, oh my God, what is going on? And they were speaking to her in English, and only Danish was coming out. and so anyways, so I learned that you really,
the newborn expert, was good. We're going to
of
start
course
there.
I was gonna save her, yeah, no. And then next to me there was this other kid who was coming from like a very Bible Belt community, and who was like started to say that all of this was demonic, and like putting that into people's brains, right? Like on in the middle of the experience, I just realized that you can't, because the first instinct when you get like the elixir is to share it with people, because, well, why wouldn't you, right? Like I felt so good, and I felt like I got the message, and I felt like I got a taste of enlightenment, and I did feel for a while when I was grabbing onto this cable of love, that I was like all love myself, and I wanted to share with everybody. What could be more normal? Like I got a cookie, like here's my cookie, and I was telling everybody the next day, and so on, and everybody could also see that I was like also like in a very good space. But you just can't, like, the lesson is that you you can only hold space for someone and let them find their way through their darkness and get to the place of peace and love and so on that you got. That's the work, and that's actually very hard work. It's not easy, and it has nothing to do with your ability to get there yourself or not. Another massive lesson. But
For sure, because there. Also, having done many ceremonies, like I said, and then being with many people who was there first time. Absolutely, there's so much of, I'm going to change my life, I'm going to get into this, I'm going to, and again, I actually am still, adjusting my life because of it, but
see the beautiful
the
thing.
Euphoria that sometimes lasts and sometimes doesn't. So I'm chuckling with you because I've sat at those tables with people talking about all sorts of great ideas, and it's beautiful because even if 10% of that, or they can find one other person at some point. Again, I don't believe in evangelizing. I don't believe in telling people to go do the medicine, but if your euphoria can positively influence somebody else's life, then wonderful, why not?
Yeah, I mean, and when I came back to Los Angeles, and I another thing is that, well, first of all, what you're doing is with your center that you're building is very different from what most people. You are, I think, the only person that I know in this community that is doing a landing pad for people that are coming from, as opposed to like, come do ayahuasca in my center. You're doing like, hey, listen, when you're done with your ayahuasca experience, come here and just chill and let the lessons simmer. Don't go back to your 9 to 5. Spend a little time here. Just let it land. And nobody does this because they think that the medicine is what the cure. And the cure, I mean, the medicine is not that it's a cure. Like, I shouldn't say it's a cure, but the medicine opens the door to some people. And once that door is open, you need to spend time doing the math about what to do, as opposed to just like idea, and then just flopping and then going into another depression because like
it's exactly what you just said, was that you can't fix other people. They have to do the work, right? But we can be sympathetic, and we can be helpful, and we can be insightful when possible. But we can't, right? So that's one of the reasons. Like Royale 33 that I'm working on is it's going to be a place for people that's plant friendly, but it's not about being a plant serving center. It can and will from time to time, but that's not what its model is. Its model is to just be a place that's loving and caring and supportive of people that and in time, hopefully, it can carry on, through other people to, keep it that way, and it doesn't just become, a resort. I mean, hopefully, it can stay in this way. It's like I don't know. I mean, maybe my son in time will be interested in Aya, or my daughters, or other people. I mean, in time, I would like it to, continue in that fashion, but, one day at a time.
Yeah, and I think the philosophy comes in, and one of the reasons that I started philosophy was because I wanted to understand, make sense of all of my experiences, because I went through many belief systems. I became vegan for 5 years. I was vegan for 5 years. I was committed. I threw away all my commercial clients, and I wanted to just do vegan content. And I went through a lot of changes. I thought there was aliens that were sending messages to us, and we could only pick them up once we were under plant medicine. And like this was opening the pineal gland like an antenna that was picking up vibrations. I went through many belief systems, until I was like, what the hell is, or the entities were around us, and like, I think when you land in a place and you are able to like ask the hard-hitting questions, who are you? What is your identity? What is identity in the first place? And is it given, or is it subjective or objective, and so on? And so you start like breaking down the concepts with logic, and then you start landing. And that space with a little bit of philosophy, I think that you're putting together, I mean, maybe you don't have philosophy in your mind, but you are philosophical in nature. So I'm sure that, like, or at least my assumption is that if people come ask you questions, your answers are going to be philosophically inclined to help them guide.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. It's conversations, because how did I find Aya, or how did Aya find me? Conversations with other human beings.
Mm-hmm.
People who are going through traumas, difficulties, living life, and, we cross each other at times for, reasons which we may or may not understand in the moment. And what better opportunities to say, hey, this is a resort that supports people with, in plant medicine, and or just people from all over the world just happening to visit this resort. And at times, things just come up in conversation. I'm not going to be evangelizing it sitting around the pool, but
right,
talking about things. It will come up, because that's exactly how it happened with me. So I know it's real.
Mm-hmm.
I told the story before that I was sitting in the barber chair, and I could not get an ayahuasca ceremony to find, and the barber was talking to someone else about what he was having in a couple weeks. So conversation is the ultimate human connection. And
I completely agree.
People can make their own decisions, and people will have to do the hard work themselves and all of that. But there's a difference between speaking with somebody who is, a proponent of, bettering yourself through plant medicine and other means other than pharma and other toxic things we humans do to ourselves all the time. There's a difference between having a person who is supportive of that versus someone that doesn't know what you're talking about. So
yeah,
that's the true offering, is human connection and care, for people who are in that frame of mind. So
yeah, and a humbling experience too. I think that's what it also gives you. It's just like a really humbling experience that I guess you get eventually at some point in your life when you end up at the hospital and you need other people to care for you. Sure. Again, like when you were a baby, whether if it's because of old age or because of a surgery or whatever, but you get that level of like dependency where you like depend on others, and that lowers your ego because you're like, you need to be, it checks you, right? And I think the puking part of it, or like being, in a very vulnerable state where you need others, helps clear the ego out for the lesson, whatever lesson to come in.
Agreed. And we're as we continue to breathe, we have the opportunity to improve, and or we're still keep collecting new baggage or experiences and goodness, but also we're still making mistakes all the time too. So
Yeah.
it's like there's it's as you jokingly had said before, if like by night 4 you were like, oh my god, I'm cured, I'm great. It's
Oh yeah.
like we're never I don't believe that's possible. But we
I
can.
mean, you can be delusional, and that's part of it. Plus the other side of the spectrum, right, where you feel like you're incomplete and you're never gonna be good enough to the point until like I'm completely complete and I'm a
Right.
fountain of everything.
You don't want to be stuck in the predatory business of self-help, never-ending self-help, and buy the next book, and buy the next book, and buy the next book, and like
Right.
But that's not what we're talking
There's way more to say, and I have more stories, and I want to ask you more stuff. But we also
We
are.
created the series, my friend.
This is
and
great.
every time we talk, I think of 3 other conversations. So
Yeah, I want to talk to next time. I want to talk to you about when my friends from the ayahuasca circle here challenged me about my non-belief in God, and they took me to take 5-MeO DMT. They're like, oh, you still don't believe in God? I'm like, no, I've asked the plant about God, and the plant said no, basically, that God is inside. It was pretty much the answer. And they're like, oh, you gotta come with us. So we went to this mansion and we did that. And anyways, another story for another day. But like,
teaser.
Yeah.
Our next or soon to be next episode. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your day, and
You too.
I'll see you. I'll see you soon because I'll be in your neck of the woods in a few weeks. But
you will?
Yeah.
Okay.
I sent you the note. Anyway, we'll talk offline.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
But anyway, I love you, and we'll talk again soon.
I love you too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.